Tonight, Target 8 is taking a look at how many times the federal government has received complaints and investigated COVID-19 health and safety issues. Good evening, everyone. I'm Noah Klein. Thanks so much for joining us. Target 8 investigator Elise Schoenig combed through data from the past 18 months to see where employees are blowing the whistle on their workplace and how many fines the federal government has levied. So, Elise, up until this week, the federal government was actually going to be in charge of that federal vaccine mandate, but that's until that Georgia federal court judge blocked it, essentially.
Yeah, so that's OSHA, that's the Federal Work Safety Agency, and it was in charge of that federal vaccine mandate. But now with this data here, we're talking about information with health and safety complaints at workplaces. Now, I got some of these details from a Freedom of Information Act request to OSHA. It shows there are workplaces that have racked up almost 500 complaints, and the federal government issued nearly $800,000 in fines as a result of those complaints.
That was Governor Parson's message to everyone in Missouri on the heels of the state's first presumptive positive corona case.
Missouri saw its first case of COVID-19 on March 7th, 2020. Less than 2 weeks later, Missouri employees started to file complaints about conditions on their jobs about COVID-19.
The mail doesn't stop.
Kevin Boyer knows firsthand. He's a letter carrier in Columbia, and he's worked all the way through the pandemic.
It's kind of one of those things where you don't see a lot of your loved ones or your friends or anything.
He says it's no secret. The pandemic made his job hard. The world shut down, but delivering the mail couldn't. I wanted to see how the pandemic hit all workplaces, including the post office. OSHA collects and handles workplace safety complaints. So I looked into how OSHA has already evaluated complaints related to COVID-19 and levied fines. Through a Freedom of Information Act request, I got nearly 500 complaints from across the state of Missouri over the last 21 months. 408 of those complaints were found valid. This resulted in 61 statewide inspections by OSHA, and the agency issued just over 100 penalties for a total of almost $800,000. 20 companies in mid-Missouri received one or more complaints. We've defined mid-Missouri according to the 13 counties of KOMU8's viewing area. One of these complaints at a nursing home in Morgan County resulted in an inspection where OSHA issued a $12,288 fine. The highest amount of complaints I received from any one workplace was 29 from different post offices across the state.
The postmaster here was really good about letting people come in like at staggered times so you wouldn't be, all bunched up.
Those complaints happened in other parts of the state, not Columbia. Boyer says he empathizes with his fellow carriers.
I put all the mail up there too.
He's grateful.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
He hasn't felt uncomfortable, and he hopes he can deliver some slice of normalcy.
You see the mailman, that's a normal thing.
Boyer says dealing with the pandemic is still a work in progress.
You just have to deal with these things as they roll along. So.
And like the employees who complained,
Good day to be outside.
He has work to do, too.
I did reach out to Lori Care Center, that nursing home find in mid-Missouri, and to Missouri's USPS Strategic Communications Specialist to comment on both fines and complaints. Both responded saying they would reach out again to comment or make a statement, but have not reached out yet again. In the studio, I'm Elise Schoenig, KOMU8 News.